Pro Progress report on the BSA C12 ignition points backplate. I'm making my own based on the original, and the reason I want to make my own because I think the original probably could have done with some improvements, and I've sort of put in some improvements of my own. Basically it's stronger, and the whole object of the exercise, I want to find optimum ignition timing and lock it all in place. I don't want to need to worry about messing about with ignition timing anymore. So everything's all lined up, it all works nicely. That's all working okay, I can make all of my adjustments. But the problem I had was the Lucas ignition points on this particular bike, it comes in two pieces, it's a two-part system. So you need a pivot pin, which is just there. Had to make the pivot pin, which goes all the way through and out the back. I made that out of silver steel and pressed it in place. It's a good interference fit, but just to make absolutely certain, I made two. I made this dummy one here made out of the same material, and the reason I made that one, it's all identical, silver steel pin into the alloy bar down to a depth of about 10mm. I wanted to do a destruction test on it, so I put my pliers on the pin and I've given it a good wrench and a good wriggle round just to make sure it was good and strong, and to be honest I can't get it out, so that's given me confidence to carry on. So that's where we're at. There's the pivot pin, there's the plate, there's the points, all based on the original. So all I need to do now is find the optimum firing point. Now the ignition needs to be on fully advanced, and the piston needs to be 250 thousandths of an inch before top dead center, or quarter of an inch. So we need to find that on the engine. So what I intend to do is take the cylinder head off so I can find top dead center absolute. Then I'll wind the engine back about half an inch, wind it forward a quarter of an inch, and that should be the exact firing point for this particular engine. So that's my plan. So far so good. I'll give you an update later. There's the ignition backplate, points backplate in place on the bike. Much better job than the original. It's a good tight fit in the housing there, whereas the old one used to wobble around all over the place. So I'm looking forward to getting that done. I intend to use the original fixing holes, but my backplate won't be slotted. It's just going to have the holes drilled into the fixing points on the engine there, non-adjustable. That's exactly what I want. Obviously this isn't set up yet, as I said previously. Right, the ignition timing has to be set up at quarter of an inch before top dead center. It says that on the service sheet that the machine was originally issued with. Quarter of an inch before top dead center, which is fine. I can find that, we can sort all that out. Just a little thing that's troubling me, and I'd be interested in people's comments. The modern E5 fuel that we can get readily available in the UK here, it's got a slower burn point than the leaded fuel that this bike would have been designed and set up to use. Now, should I back off the ignition timing by a couple of degrees just to compensate, or not bother, just set it up as the factory spec sheet? Interested to know what you think. So anyway, there we are. Next job, I've got to whip the cylinder head off and find top dead center.